Hello, my name is Charles Wingert, and today I will be presenting on Leishmaniasis. Leishmaniasis is a disease caused by the Leishmania parasite. The parasite will infect female sandflies, and then when the sandflies bite a victim, then the parasite will move from the sandfly to the victim. It's only the female sandflies that can carry the parasite, because the female sandflies will bite mammals to get blood for their eggs, which the males will not do. The disease can be dormant for many years before becoming active. It's usually activated by either like an immunocompromising disease like HIV or from physical trauma. The parasite was first documented in 1903, but that is not the first evidence that we have of it. That's just when we have the first paper. The parasite is a flagellated protozoan. There are two main types that you can contract, with a third caused by improper treatment of specific species of the parasite. You can contract Leishmaniasis multiple times in your life if you have it improperly treated, and it can just keep coming up. Lieutenant General William Bogue Leishman was the first person to actually study and find the parasite. He found it in 1900 and did not publish his first paper on it until 1903. And then several weeks after his paper was published, Charles Donovan published a paper on a similar species, and they were both accredited with finding the Leishmaniasis parasite, and thus the first species found was dubbed Leishmania donovani. And then we have found fossilized evidence of the Leishmaniasis parasite in two fossilized ambers. It was not the actual parasite itself, but rather, I think I'm saying this right, but amistygotes in the blood sacs of other fly species. And then the first evidence we have of human infection, at least for that we know is Leishmaniasis, is 1500 BC, where they did a DNA test on I think about 42 mummies' blood, and found the DNA of Leishmaniasis. And then throughout the ages, there have been kind of reports and drawings of humans with lesions that kind of make us think that Leishmaniasis could have gone back much longer. Leishmaniasis is most prevalent at warmer climates and in poorer economies and war-torn countries. This is mostly in Northern Africa, South America, and kind of the lower parts of Europe and Asia. And it's estimated about 2 million new cases worldwide per year. Not all cases are reported, however, because since they're in lower economies, the morbidity that can be caused by Leishmaniasis is kind of something that people like to keep hidden, because could be a cultural thing or just something where they're not comfortable showing their faces. And then right now, we think about 12 million people are infected globally. This isn't always active infection, more just have the parasite. And then there was an epidemic caused by farmers fleeing from a war-torn Sudan in 1997, and they fled to Eritrea and Ethiopia, and there was a huge outbreak there. And then here are the species of Leishmaniasis. There's different species in the Eastern Hemisphere and the Western Hemisphere that can cause similar symptoms, but usually different species can cause the different types of leishmaniasis. And then we have 3 types of leishmaniasis. You have cutaneous leishmaniasis. It's the most common, and generally it's not deadly, just it can cause high morbidity. And then you have mucosal leishmaniasis, which is caused by an improper treatment of certain strains of, or certain species of the Leishmania that can cause cutaneous. And it can be deadly in some cases, depending on where it infects. And then visceral leishmaniasis is not very common. It's only caused by 2 or 3 species of Leishmania parasites, and it can be deadly. Then for the pathogenesis of leishmaniasis, the parasites will infect macrophages in the skin, and then when the cell is full, it will burst and send mastigotes to other macrophages. For cutaneous, this will stay purely at the skin, but for visceral, it will proceed via the bloodstream and lymphatic system deeper into your body and infect certain organs like your spleen, and in some worst cases, it can infect other organs like your gastrointestinal tract. The disease starts when you get immunocompromised, and when it starts, there's an induction of cytokine 1L10. It will inhibit the Th1 immune system. It will also inhibit the IFN-Y response, and then it will promote Th2 T cells and the T regulatory cells. And patients that are infected with leishmaniasis show infected neutrophils and macrophages in the blood samples. These probably served as mastigotes, moving the visceral leishmaniasis from one site of infection to another site of infection. And then here we kind of have the how it's transmitted. So you have the sandfly. The sandfly will bite a human or another mammal, and then it will cause the infection, cause mastigotes to be produced, and then another fly will bite the infected person, get mastigotes, and then the mastigotes will kind of procreate and get ready to infect another person, and then when the infected sandfly bites someone, it starts all over again. And then for cutaneous leishmaniasis, it's the most common form of leishmaniasis, being caused by almost every species of leishmaniasis. Its symptoms are lesions on the body. Usually it can be one or multiple primary lesions with many smaller kind of satellites lesions. In lesser cases, it can heal on its own. And then for people 12 and older, you can use miltefosine to fight the parasite. For mucosal leishmaniasis, it can also be called Espundia or mucocutaneous leishmaniasis. It's caused by improper treatment of the Viana subgenus of Leishmania, and this is caused when the cutaneous leishmaniasis is not properly treated, and the parasite will disseminate from the skin, from the lesions, and go and infect the mucosal linings of your mouth, your throat, and your airways. And the symptoms can include stuffiness, bleeding in the nose, ulcers in the mucosa of the nose and throat. If in certain bad cases, it can cause a perforation in the nasal septum, in between kind of your mouth and nose. And if the infection is in your larynx, it can become swollen and cause problems with your airways, and you can die. The treatment is the same with miltefosine. And then for visceral leishmaniasis, it is also called Kalazar, which means black fever in Hindi. It's caused by 3 species of leishmaniasis in the Eastern Hemisphere, it's caused by L. donovani, L. infantum, and in the Western Hemisphere, L. chagassi. And then the symptoms can include fever, weight loss or wasting, hepatosplenomegaly, which is where your spleen is larger than your liver, pancytopenia, which is like an anemia and similar things, and then it can cause a high protein level and a low albumin level, and then if you get the HIV while you have Leishmaniasis, kind of as a co-infection, that's where it can cause a complication and move from your kind of lymphatic system to your other organs, like your gastrointestinal tract and the like. And then if visceral Leishmaniasis is not treated properly and it stays in your body, then it can come back and cause lesions. And then those lesions, if they're kind of chronic, those are kind of how the disease mainly stays alive in fleas, is that chronic visceral lesions. And then for visceral Leishmaniasis, you can use liposomal amphotericin B, and then also miltefosine as well. And then, is there any way to prevent it? There are no vaccines currently for Leishmaniasis. I don't believe there are any in production or research, at least not as far as I've seen when I was doing research. The only way to prevent an infection is to not get bitten by a sand flea, and kind of the ways to do that is wearing longer sleeved clothing when you're visiting other countries, especially like South America and Africa, and using EPA-registered bug repellent. And when you go to sleep at night, you want to use a bug net and tuck it under your mattress and make sure that it is a net with very small holes. And then here are my references. Thank you for watching. I'm sorry for my voice. I've been sick for about a week, so yeah. Thank you.